Hello, I'm Sam Chaplick, a junior at Morristown High School and a first year in the Life Design Lab. I'm here today to discuss my progress and journey through this program and all I've taken away from it. I think it's important to start back in September to explain what exactly this all is. I remember the first few classes I had, similarly to you, trying to figure out what the heck I was doing. I went into this class knowing, at the very least, we would pick some project and work on it throughout the year. I figured that meant I could pick something easy, work on a little, and blow off the rest of the year to have a free block. I had it all mapped out in my head. I'd finish my work in record time, sit in the back of the room, and basically treat this period like a scheduled nap, or a chance to catch up on other homework. My perspective on the class changed pretty quickly, though, when one of our first assignments started off with the question, who am I? I came to understand after that this was going to be different than most of the classes I had taken thus far. In most classes, the answer is in a textbook, but here, the answer is supposed to come from me. So, when faced with this question, I shuddered. I mean, how do you ask a teenager who they are? It's a pretty loaded question that I think just about everyone would be stumped by, especially a high schooler. So I disregarded it and moved on with my original plan. Find something easy, just get through it. So, with that, I thought I could try woodworking. I could bang out a few decent projects and show them off for presentations, just hoping I could get a decent grade and forget about the rest. I figured there was nothing complicated about that. Tangible work, numerical progress, streamlined work that could be expedited, so I didn't have to focus on it for the rest of the year. As my deadline was approaching, I finally decided that I should start to get to work. It's important to note that I've never done any sort of woodworking before. Well, with the exception of a class I took in middle school. Within an hour of working on a small box, I came to the important conclusion. I hate this. I wasn't just bad at it, I genuinely found no joy in the process. The sawdust got everywhere, the measurements were never quite right, and I realized I was spending hours on something I didn't even want to own when it was finished. So, I was committed to a project that I hated, and I have to do it for the rest of the year. My perfectly thought out plan fell through the cracks because of something I didn't account for. Who am I? I never even thought of myself when considering what I wanted to do. I was so focused on finding an easy path that I ended up making the year twice as hard for myself. Because of that, it was December and I was back to square one. Not that I had made it very far with my original idea, but still it was upsetting. An academic and personal setback. So, where do I go from here? I was 3 months into the class. I had to present my work in a week, and I had nothing. I remember one day, I was listening to some music, and thinking about what I should do. I was too distracted by the music to think of any ideas, and that's when it hit me. I was told earlier in the year that if I wasn't interested in my project, this class was going to be a rough one. So why don't I work on something that I like so much it's distracting me from everything else? Music. I like it, everyone else likes it, so why not spend the rest of my time on that? Okay, so music. Sure, I could do that. So what do I do? It's kind of vague, but still a good jumping off point. I finally figured that making music would be a lot of fun. It would be something that I was proud to show off. So the first step that would be learning how to play an instrument. There's obviously a lot of options, but I thought the coolest would be guitar. There's something kind of iconic about it. The way it looks, the way it feels when you strike a chord, and the whole body of the instrument vibrates against you. I think everyone's seen a guitar somewhere. Like when you're visiting someone's house and they have one out, and you wish you could just pick it up and start playing something. Or maybe no one thinks that, but that's who I am. My plan wasn't just to learn guitar though. I decided to raise the stakes. I was going to teach myself. I wanted to see if I could bridge the gap between knowing nothing and playing something beautiful without a teacher holding my hand. I wanted to learn. The reality check hit me the second I sat down with the instrument. There's a massive, steep learning curve that no one tells you about until you're in it. I didn't even know how to hold the thing correctly, let alone how to position my fingers without them feeling like they were going to snap off from stretching too far. I spent hours just trying to get a single string to ring out clearly, without that annoying buzzing sound. My fingertips were sore for weeks, and there were moments where I stared at YouTube tutorials, wondering if my hands were just physically built wrong for this. Teaching yourself means you're both the student and the coach. You have to be disciplined enough to practice the boring stuff and patient enough not to quit when your fingers hurt. This project shifted from playing music to a trial in self-discipline, testing my patience and dedications to its limits. I had to figure out which resources were actually helpful, how to diagnose my own mistakes, and how to keep going when I felt like I was making zero progress. It was a challenge of independence as much as it was a challenge of music. Once I started seeing my progress, I almost forgot about the class. It stopped being about the grade or the free block I had originally wanted, and it became about the pride of actually getting better at something difficult. Looking back at September, I realized that I tried to avoid the question, who am I? Because I didn't think I had a good answer. But through this progress, I found out that I'm someone who can turn a setback into a pivot, and someone who can take a challenge just for the sake of personal growth. I didn't just learn a few chords on guitar. I learned that if I actually care about what I'm doing, the work doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like a purpose. I'm still learning, and I'm still figuring out that who am I question. But I'm a lot closer now than I was when I was working, or when I was trying just to build a small wooden box I didn't care about. Thank you.